kids and talk to people. The types of questions that come up, some of them are same, some are different, but they always want to know sort of like, what was it like to serve in the military, or what is it like to serve in the military? And I think every generation that sort of changes. But I think my journey started when the army told me that they didn't want me to join, that the turban and beard would be a problem. And I've always sort of joked that, the best way to get a Sikh to do something is to tell them that they can't do it, and, that's, I think it's maybe in our DNA. So, as all of you guys, I see all of your beautiful KSKs and patkas there in the audience, and all the young girls on there too, with your beautiful hair. As you guys go through and figure out what it is that you want to do in life, don't miss these opportunities to change the system, because the system, it is in some places not equitable, meaning it's it's not fair for everybody. In some cases, it's outright discriminatory, like it was with the U.S. military. They would allow other faiths and other soldiers to practice their faith freely, but then when it came to Sikhs and Muslims and Hindus and other religious minorities, they wouldn't allow us to serve in the military freely. So it took time and effort. Essentially, I like Raj said, I'm a doctor. I'm a physician. I trained in emergency medicine, but I never trained in policy work or what it means to do civil rights work. I never had any sort of background or training in that. But growing up, I always had an interest in civic engagement. So, when 1984 happened, I think we were all shaken, and we were always there for those rallies that happened in New York and in DC, for human rights. And, and as the years went on, we continued that civic engagement. So to me, it was, fighting for Sikh rights in the military was just a natural progression to what we had already been doing our entire lives. So that's basically background, so after I got my accommodation and a number of other young Sikhs got their accommodations to serve in the military, we pushed for policy change in the army. That took us another 8 years, and I didn't do it on my own. I worked with lots and lots of organizations, SALDEF, obviously, Sikh Coalition, United Sikhs, ACLU. And there were lots and lots of organizations that worked very hard to change policy. So there will be lots and lots of opportunities in your lives to change things. So don't take the easy road, and it might take time and effort, but at the end of it, you'll have accomplished something that hopefully that you'll be proud of. So with that, we can move on to questions, Raj, or whatever else you want to do.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have anything in chat. Remember, guys, if you have any questions for Dr. Kamal Kalsi, I keep saying doctor, I'm used to calling you Kamal, so it's
Kamal is fine.
Yeah. So remember to put them in chat or raise your hand. Beneath or I will see it, and you can ask the question directly. It's always good to get a face to the speaker. They get to know you a little bit, and always say something a little bit about yourself to introduce yourself before you ask the question. So let's, what was your biggest motivation that drives the work that you do? I know you've given a little bit of background already, in terms of motivation because they said no, and that motivated you to do it. But is there other like personal history that may or as you're growing up that may have also motivated you to really be stand out and push the boundaries?
Sure. No, it's a great question. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely bullied growing up, in school, and sometimes I was even bullied by my fellow, young Sikh friends. So I was bullied at Gurdwara, and then I was bullied at regular school. So for me, joining the military was, on the one hand, sort of like it felt like I was uh, showing my patriotism, showing these guys that I am actually a better American than them, and that I could do more with my life than they could. So I think that was certainly a part of it. And then, just to be an Army officer, get through boot camp and all that, I felt like I needed that to make me tougher, which it did. It gives you an incredible discipline. It makes you feel and appreciate that you can accomplish anything. So the military is it gives you a lot of wonderful gifts. So that was one reason. The other reason I would say is that I have a long family history and legacy of service, like so many of you guys. Military service is part of who we are. So I really wanted to continue that tradition, and that's another reason.
All right, awesome. So you went to, did you go to med school first and then the Army, or was med school through your?
Well, actually, the recruiters came during my first year of med school, so I joined, while I was in med school.
And how was that, getting through that process?
It's always you have to apply, right? There's a written component, and then they make you go for the physical. So that part really wasn't all that hard, just taking the oath to serve as an officer. I got through what's called MEPS training. It's the military, the MEPS military physical and all that. And I was worried because I'm like, well, what if I get to this MEPS, this military physical area, and they tell me that they don't like my turban or that I've got long hair, and the recruiter's like, don't worry about it. We have 6 in the military, and it won't be a problem. So yeah, I went to get all that stuff done, and I really didn't have any issue. And then over the next several years, while I was in med school, I would go out on military rotations at different sites in uniform, and never had any issue. So, well,
And how how did you deal with any hurdles during med school or during your Army time period, especially in Afghanistan, where your beard and turban caused you any hurdles that you had to push through or go to work through? Or
no, and in fact, I mean, like, I would typically my routine there was I would go to bed. Before going to bed, I would comb my hair, do my jura, tie on my little patka like I'm wearing right now, and I do my dadi and tie it up. And so I would sleep this way. And so basically, when I jump out of bed, I'd brush my teeth, put on my clothes, and I was ready to go. And that was the other soldiers there would be shaving or whatever, and so I'd be up and out before any of them. So I think if we're asking the military to make accommodations for us, I think we need to also figure out a way to make things work, and we need to make accommodations for them in some regards as well. So from my side, I made the accommodation that I would make sure that I was ready first, and that I would be there first, and that I would be I would work harder than anybody else in order to make sure that there were no issues or complaints. So I never really had any problems with any of the soldiers. Never had problems with the star or my Dadi. Never interfered in my duties as a physician. And I also, my part of my training is in emergency management, EMS and disaster medicine. So I did all that stuff as well. And, the soldiers were great. They saw me just as another colleague.
Awesome. That's great. And so when you got back, you started founding, I guess it's you say it's Seva or versus Sava, or like, how do you say it?
Yeah, you can take poetic license, however you want to pronounce it. But I pronounce it Seva, the Sikh American Veterans Alliance. And we founded Seva about 6 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and continued to work with all the Sikh organizations to try to push for policy change. And so we were able to change policy in the Army, and then we helped change policy in the Air Force. And now, just a few months back, we, in conjunction with Sikh Coalition, we sued the U.S. Marine Corps to hopefully make them change their policies as well.
Talk a little bit about how you were able to change that policy. I don't think people understand quite, what the process is to get there, what kind of hurdles you had to overcome, what support you ended up getting from, various military officials. So let's
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it is a painfully slow process when you talk about policy work, and there's no set playbook. There's no guidelines that you do X, Y, and Z, but it's a lot of relationship building, and it's a lot of spending time in DC, walking the halls of Congress, and giving people briefings, telling them who you are and telling them what you stand for. A lot of it's education, and just fixing perhaps some of the disinformation that they have, and trying to tell them, look, I can get a good seal with my gas mask, with my beard. I can wear a helmet with my turban. I can do anything else a regular soldier can. I can, I can jump out of planes. I can swim. I can do whatever. And then to have the legal backing for it, I think is tremendous. So it's just a lot of time, work, and effort. But the key to all that, I think, is relationship building. And so when I was able to connect finally with former Secretary of the Army, Eric Fanning, we became friends, and we decided that, okay, these are perhaps some of the objections that people have, like for safety. So let's figure out how to overcome these objections. And that way, both sides are satisfied. And so the Army sponsored a multi-million-dollar study on gas masks and helmets and safety equipment for Sikhs and other minorities, for hijab wearing Muslims, for Rastafarians with the big hair, and what they found was that, the safety equipment would work, and that really at the end of the day is what helped us change policy. Between the safety study and then the personal relationships, in DC. I see we have a few questions.
Yeah, I was about to get to that, so you're quicker than me. Let's go with Ishar Singh. Ishar, do you want to ask your question? Introduce yourself a little bit too, also.
Varjika Khalsa, Varjiki
Bye,
Fateh.
Gajiki Fateh. What's up, Ishar?
Hi. My question is, how did you draw on Sikhi while on tour?
How did I draw on Sikhi? That's a great question. When I was in Afghanistan, I was reminded that our forefathers were there. These are historic lands. I was reminded that Guru Nanak visited these lands, and it connected me to sort of a greater sense of purpose. And so I knew that I was doing important work, and that what my efforts there would have ripples, hopefully, for generations to come. So, I knew that although it was very difficult being away from my family, that it was important work that had to be done. So, and I thought of like the times that our gurus had left their families, and Sikh soldiers had left their families in the past as well to go fight in battle. And I said, well, this is my sacrifice, and I'm not the first one to do it. I'm not going to be the last one to do it. It's part of our historical legacy. This is what we do.
Awesome. Thank you for that great answer, Kamal. Okay, let's go to Sejal. Sejal Singh, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and ask a question?
Hey, Sejal.
Yeah, so my name's Sejal Singh. I'm from Northern Virginia, and I'm going to be going to the University of Pennsylvania in the fall. So I just had a question about how you kind of got interested in medicine in the first place, and why specifically you chose to pursue emergency medicine. Was that tied to your interest in serving, or were there more personal reasons for that?
Sure. No, great question. I've always wanted to be a doctor since I was a kid. When they in kindergarten, they asked us to draw what we wanted to be or make a cutout. I made a little drawing of a doctor, a little thing light on his head, and little Judah. And so I've always wanted to be a doctor. And in terms of emergency medicine, I guess emergency medicine is great because it's crazy, it's chaotic, it's something different, a little bit different every day, and it's very challenging. So that appeals to me, and taking care of people in their acute need, time of need, also appeals to me, and it's definitely needed, especially on the battlefield, to be able to take care of people's war wounds and injuries and lacerations and broken bones and all that. So yeah, I think it all just worked out nicely together. But the Army needs all types of doctors and nurses and lawyers. They need everybody. So I mean, if you guys have an interest, you don't have to be a doctor. You could be anything and still join the military. They will take you. And if they don't, you tell me.
Awesome. Thanks, Kamal. There's a couple more questions, but I just wanted to tie into that you're pushing for military participation. Talk about why it's necessary for us to be involved in the military as Sikhs. So
yeah. That's a great question. It's important for us, I think, to continue to serve in the military, especially here in the U.S. The United States military is the most powerful military in the entire world. I mean, we spend more money on it. We have the most weapons, and we are the world's major superpower. So it's important for us to be in this military, because if we're respected and recognized here, that means all other militaries in the world and all other organizations in the world will follow suit. You know, we already serve in Canada, UK, India, and other militaries around the world, but to have a presence in the US military, I think is key. And this doesn't mean that you agree with US foreign policy, you know, by virtue of being in the military, it doesn't mean that you necessarily agree with all of our foreign policy. Heck, you pay taxes, right? It doesn't mean that you pay taxes that you agree with all US foreign policy. So, you know, the military is just a tool. We are sent by politicians to do whatever it is that the politicians want to do, which hopefully is an extension of what the public wants to do. But it's important for us to make change from within. It is very difficult to make change in any organization from outside of the organization, especially an organization as deep and conservative and old as the U.S. military. So that's why I think, you know, if you don't like X, Y, or Z about the military, then join it and change it. Or if you don't like certain policies in your town, you know, run to be on your town council. Or if you don't like something going on in your state, just, you know, become a state senator or become governor. Or, you know, I think it's important that we as just regular citizens start to engage more often in order to make this country serve our needs. You have to be willing to put in the time and effort to make it better.
Awesome. Thanks, Kamal. We got another one that kind of ties into that is how do you feel when the country you're fighting for doesn't help or support the Sikh community, where there is discrimination faced by Sikhs or hate crimes? And that's from Jasraj Baweja. Thanks,
Jasraj. Great question. You know, I think that this country does support Sikhs and other minorities, but there are opposing elements, right? There are certainly people in this country that are racist, right? Now, do they represent this country? No, I don't think so. I think there are more good people in this country than there are bad. I know that, and I believe in the goodness of people, and I believe that the good that we have will certainly overcome any racist elements, any hate crimes, any discrimination. So, you know, I would encourage you to just help fight along with the good guys, help change policy, help change whatever it is that you think is broken, so that we can make it better for the next generation. You know, now that we've changed policy in the Army and the Air Force, you know, you guys can go to a recruiter, apply for religious accommodation, and then just serve. You know, 10 years ago, that would have been unthinkable. So progress happens, but it's slow, and you have to be okay with that. I know a lot of you guys on this call today are quite young, so to tell you that you know, 10 years may be what it takes to change, you know, major policy, so it sounds daunting and stupid, but you know, that sometimes that's what it takes.
Awesome. So there was a question from Mehtab Singh. I didn't want Mehtab to feel like he was ignored, but I think you've answered it already. It was, why did you decide to join the Army? Is there anything else beyond what you've already talked about that, you know, kind of influenced you in joining?
Yeah, I mean, I would add to that I wanted to make sure that my kids didn't face the same challenges that I did, you know, and you all, that you would have hopefully an easier time, that you wouldn't have to face the same you know, name calling, maybe bullying, and hate crimes and discrimination that our generation had to go through.
Awesome. Thanks. And so Dipneet Kaur asks, what is one value that is important to you, or one value that you learned through your experience?
One value. I'll give you two. I would say I've learned discipline and perseverance. You know, I know that I can wake up every day and I'm excited that I got this whole day ahead of me. You know, I don't know what to do with myself. No, I do know what to do with myself. I just don't have enough of me to do it. I wish I had 3 of me some days, but you know, I think all of us should be able to wake up every morning and say, oh shit, oh sorry, don't curse. We should be able to say, look, I've got all this work and I really, really want to get through it. And I know that the Guru is going to help me get through all this work. So the Guru should grant me the perseverance to get through these challenges, because you're going to hit challenges. You're going to hit stumbling blocks. You're going to have days where you think, oh man, am I really doing the right thing? Is this worthwhile? So you want to have the perseverance to get through that. And I think leaning on your family and leaning on your faith to get you through those days is important.
For those of us that know Kamal and know how much he does, I swear there is 3 of him, because there's no way he is everywhere that he says he is. But somehow he does it. You know, it's pretty amazing. So let's get in.
Great friends to help me.
Yeah. So let's get into Seva. What do you? I know we talked about what they've done with military service and getting representation. What are some of the other projects that Seva has been working on?
Yeah, one of the big projects we've been working on. One second. Okay, am I back? There we go. One of our missions and our goals is to promote our Sikh military heritage. We have this great military legacy and all these wonderful military stories, so we want to be able to promote that history. So we teamed up with a Hollywood producer and director, and we're working on this documentary. It's be the first Hollywood documentary of its kind about Sikhs and our military history. So within the next month or so, it should be done. And it's a documentary short, and then we'll take it around to film festivals all over the US, and eventually it'll end up, we hope, on one of these large streaming platforms, maybe Netflix or HBO or Disney or something. But it's really exciting because it's a huge win for the Sikh community to have a documentary of this caliber, and done by Hollywood. And it just gets us more exposure. It helps people learn about who we are, what we stand for, what we want out of life. And it just demystifies us as a community. And a lot of times there's fear. They see a turban or a jura, or they see us at Gurdwara, and they just don't know what to think. So I think this will allow people to sort of start having those conversations with each other. They'll say, "Oh yeah, we saw the documentary. That's so great that you guys have this legacy of military service, all around the world, etc." So we're hoping that the documentary helps break down a lot of those barriers.
Awesome. I know we worked together on for a little while on the U.S. Department of Education, working on the hate crime policies and the continuing education for the police officers in the state. I know you probably we keep sending you a few interns every year from SalDef. help you out. Are there any other smaller projects that you're working on, or liaising with other organizations, or?
Yeah, I'm a White House appointee as well, so I'm a White House commissioner for the AANHPI community, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islanders, and I do a lot of work there for equity, health equity, diversity, inclusion, justice, anti-hate and anti-discrimination for our AANHPI community. So again, it's slow-moving policy type recommendations. All of our recommendations go directly to the president, and then he basically implements them. He tasks another group, their domestic policy council, to actually go through and implement the recommendations that he likes. So very, very honored to be able to work on this, and I think it gives us a seat at the table. Whether it's for gun violence or any of the other issues that are facing our community. You guys can always certainly bring those issues to me, and we can bring them up.
So you talked about creating relationships as a key component in being successful in a lot of your projects, especially in military, getting the military to pay attention and changing their policies. One of the things we're trying to focus on, especially in this class, is how networking and relationships are so important, going through life. Are there any ways you learned to network or create relationships, with skills you learned, or how you did it?
Yeah, no, networking and building relationships is everything. When you go for an interview for a job or whatever, you are basically selling yourself, and you're trying to market yourself so that you can be a part of this group. Whether you want to join medical school, or you want to join a job, or join the military, and then every time you meet a person, you're also basically marketing yourself, and you want to tell them who you are, what you stand for, what you want out of life. So I would say, try to figure out who you are, and try to figure out what your values are. Try to figure out what it is that you want to do in life, so that when you meet people and you have these interviews where you're trying to market yourself, that you have a clear idea of what it is that you want to do. Now, if your goal is to ride in a sexy car and have a big house, then that's all well and good, and there's nothing wrong with money. Money is great. It makes the world go round. But it may not align with certain groups of people, right? I mean, if you really, really want to serve in the military, or you really want to get into medical school, and you tell them that money is your greatest desire in life, you may not get very far. So you have to figure out who you are and what you want to do, and then I would say, most definitely, networking and getting to know people it's an art form, and it becomes easier if you can be true to yourself and really figure out who it is that you are.
Awesome. So we have actually an absolutely great question, and it's something that I like to always ask people, because I know I've gone through it. For those of us that are extremely active and trying to be, outside of our career, try and also give back. Burnout is, of course, a very, big issue. And so the question from Sahej Kaur is what's one piece of advice you would recommend for when one is demotivated during their career, education, or at any point of life?
No, wonderful question. Yeah, I mean, burnout is such a huge problem in not just medicine, but every profession, and it's hard. You have to try to figure out again why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And for me, I really like just decompressing and going to the beach and spending time with family. So I need that, every so often. And I know that if I can get that every so often, it helps me avoid, times of burnout. It helps me avoid, helps keep me sort of focused and going. So I feel much more productive if I can go on vacations regularly. So I know that I sort of build that into my schedule, and that's there's good research supporting that. If you build in downtime into your schedule and say, hey, look, 3 times a week I'm going to go play, I don't know, sports with my buddies, or every other month I'm going to go hiking, or once a month I'm going to go hiking with my friends, or whatever it is. I need to go to the beach every so often, and you build that into your schedule. I think it keeps you it helps you maintain a better balance. For my life, I'll be quite honest, there really is no balance. It's just like, it's go, go, go. And I figure I'll sleep when I'm dead. But I know I will have accomplished a lot. I have probably a personality defect, so I'm compelled to do like 20 things at once. So for me, it works, and I found sort of a system that works for me. But I think for everybody, you need to figure out what it is that you're comfortable with and what you are happy with, and what your spouse is happy with. That's also super important.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So next question is from, my phone just went close. Next question is from Bunda Singh. She says, what would you recommend for students who are interested in the STEM medical field, trying to make Sikh awareness?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I think there's a lot of things you can point to in terms of if you want to create awareness around Sikhs and what we've accomplished. The father of fiber optics was a Sikh. Sikhs have been on the forefront of so much innovation in farming, in so many aspects of development in this country. And you guys don't realize, but in the 1800s, when Sikhs started to come to the U.S., we actually worked on the railroads. When we were some of the early farmhands on the large farms that were in this nation. So we help even today. If you go to California, up and down the state, a lot of those farms are owned by Sikhs. So we're a big part of not just farming in this country, but transportation. That includes trucking, that includes taxis and Ubers. But Sikhs are just a hardworking people, and I think when you talk of STEM, you could just point to physicians and engineers and other professionals, and note that Sikhs are a large percentage of those professions, despite the fact that we're a micro minority in this country. So I think there's a lot of different ways to have that conversation. But the best way, I think, is to put it in sort of a story format around maybe a couple of people that you feel are interesting characters to introduce to your to your classroom.
I completely agree. I think one of the things I've done is just picked up on certain individuals that people don't realize how much they've influenced, technology or our culture. Stuff like Kapane, who did fiber optics. Literally, our internet right now we're zooming on would not exist without a Sikh being the inventor of fiber optics, essentially. So, that there's plenty of individuals that you can, just put in your head as like key talking points when you're talking to people about, hey, listen, did you know that you can't do this if it wasn't for a Sikh? So I think that's always
my actual Tayaji, actually, Dr. Swaran Singh Kalsi, he has like 20 patents on magnetic levitation, and so he without his patents, he wouldn't have those bullet trains, and the maglev trains that we see in Japan and other parts of the world. So Sikhs have a massive contribution, and I think the more you dig, the more you see that we have contributions in the military, science, and farming, like everywhere, because we're hardworking people.
Awesome. The questions are coming in faster than I can ask them, so this is great. I appreciate you guys actually volunteering with these questions. So the next question is from Simar Rajpal: is how do you manage your time effectively to be able to work in many activities daily and to make sure you finish them on time? So I think that's important with, you saying you're doing 20 tasks at a time. Well, how do you manage that time, or how do you, able to, work through that? What systems do you use?
Yeah, no, I think it's important to silo and plan your day. So I know that I have this meeting from this time to this time, and I try to plan my entire day, and then the week, and then the month. And so I think with planning, you can juggle many projects together. If you don't plan, then you can't even get one project done correctly. So planning is a big part of it.
And do you have like personal skills that you use to plan? Do you use notebooks? Do you I think it's important for also just to introduce like specific techniques to this generation, that they can start trying out. So
no, I mean, maintain a calendar, right? And so for me, my calendar is on my iPhone, so I look at it. I have days that I blocked off where I work, clinically, and then there are days that I spend. Okay, this day I'm going to work on all Seva stuff, and then another day where I'm going to work on other stuff. So I think it's important to spend time, block out time for whatever it is you're going to do on your calendar, and then have the discipline to actually go forth and get work done. And a lot of people have a lot of great ideas. Like you want to get, you want to clean up the environment. You want to you hate gun violence, or there's 100 issues that you may like to talk about. But then if you're truly passionate about it, put it into your calendar and work towards whatever it is that you want. Put it into action, and that's what it matters. Because unfortunately, most of the world is full of sheep. And Sikhs are not sheep. We are lions. Our gurus created us in their image to be leaders, and to be thought leaders, and to be leaders that change the world and make it a better place. And so, that means filling up your calendar with stuff that's going to make a change, make a difference.
Awesome. So next question is from Ruhani Alwalia. She says, how do you enact change when you feel excluded from the leaders in your community due to classism and other socioeconomic barriers?
And this awesome question. I mean, the internet and social media has opened up the entire world to you. So if you feel excluded, by one group, you know, you can find your tribe elsewhere, and you can find like-minded individuals to help you out online or in your family or elsewhere. But there's, you know, there's always somebody out there that you can connect with to help you with your cause if you feel strongly about it. You may not find that group right away. It may not be the largest group, but I think we have this great resource, you know, in the internet and social media now that allows us to connect to lots and lots of people around the world. So use that. Don't be defeated by, you know, people and circumstances that are immediately around you. There's always going to be people pulling you down. You know, there's people pulling me down every day. I don't care. There may be people that disagree with what I do. I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm going to put action behind my words. And a lot of these people, they're just social media warriors. You know, their actions don't go beyond their hateful or discriminatory posts on social media.
Awesome. Thanks, Kamal.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting close to the end. Anybody has any last minute questions, put them in chat or raise your hand. But I'm going to ask you, what advice would you give to young Sikhs and Kaurs in order to reinstate their confidence and determination? And on top of that, I'm going to generalize it even more and say, is there any advice you personally would want to give beyond that question? So,
I mean, there's so much advice. I would say just biggest thing is, I would say, wake up each day, wake up early, exercise, get some exercise in, eat well, take care of your bodies, and then study hard and work hard, make an honest living, and figure out what it is that you really, really want out of this life. We don't have that much time available to us. I mean, I know you guys are young, but you get old very quickly, unfortunately. And so figure out what you want out of this life, and just pursue it every single day.
hey, we're not old. We're just not as young as we were.
No, yeah. I'm not saying you guys are old.
Yeah. Right. So if anybody has any questions, just give us a last minute. Otherwise, I think we may wrap up here. So I'll just give everybody a minute or two. Meanwhile, I'll just ask you. So let me think of a question. Internships or ideas or how these students can get involved. Do you have, I mean, other than Seva, do you have any advice to these students as to how they can get involved with their, Seva or other organizations, and how they would go about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if you guys are interested in getting more involved with Seva and our projects and stuff, certainly you can reach out to me directly. My email is Kamal, Kamal, at seva, SAVA.org, or you could email Raj or Puneet, and they can give you my email. So I can certainly put you guys to work. But there's so many different internships. There's White House internships, so much work, amazing work that they can do with SALDEF or any of the other Sikh organizations. I think that the key is really just to get involved. And I said this to my interns this year, which is, and every year, which is you're going to get out of this internship what you put into it. So if you're engaged and you're interested and you're going to, and you really want to get whatever goal done that you set your mind to, I will help you achieve that goal, to the best of my abilities. But if you set yourself up for some small, stupid goals, I'm happy to help you with small, stupid goals too. But at the end of the day, you will miss an opportunity to do something, perhaps bigger and greater, that you really could have been proud of. So in anything that you do, try to exceed everyone's expectations, try to exceed your own expectations. And you may not always succeed. Failure is okay. Failure is totally okay. So just give it your best. Make sure you try.
Awesome, thank you. And I just want to tell the audience, SikhLEAD is an awesome organization. Kamal does amazing stuff, as well as his group of supporters and friends. So make sure you check out their website, learn more about them, and get your parents to add SikhLEAD as one of their organizations they support on top of SALDEF. So unfortunately, no matter how much manpower you have, there are always financial support that every organization needs. So definitely, talk to your families and help them out. So, and with that, Kamal, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. It was a
really
pleasure.
Taking time out of your vacation to talk to everyone. I'm sure everyone really appreciates it. It's always good talking to you.
Yeah, always a pleasure. It was great seeing you guys, and I'm sure I'll see you guys around. You should tell your mom and dad I said hi. It's been too long, but I'll see you guys all around.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Just want to say a quick thank you, for taking out time, like Raj said, out of your vacation time. And they are so fortunate to, have you both as role models, and, learning so many tips from you guys. Especially, like the simple thing is wake up early, look after yourself. Look at the thank yous coming in the chat.
Thanks, guys.
Fan club right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, Sikh leaders, whenever you want, you all know they are here for us. We are here for you. So anytime you want to be connected for advice or work or anything, please reach out. This is what SALDEF is doing. We're building this network. We're building this extended family for all of you guys. So with that said, we will let Dr. Kamal Kalsi go to the beach and enjoy himself. Thank you. We really truly appreciate all the insights and tips and advices you gave to us. I learned so much from this session, and needless to say, thank you so much, Raj, for moderating this session so well. As always, thank you so much for taking out the time, guys. I can let you go now and enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. With that said, we'll move on to a break, for a 10-minute break, guys. All right, thank you.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I'll stop the recording right here.